Okay, let's try this one more time. I'm kind of weird in that I'm always such a stickler for rules. Rules that are more like, make sure you hold your scissors by the blade in your fist facing the floor. Or like, I don't know. I remember seeing a book in elementary school that was like, don't ever stand on a chair with wheels. And I can confirm I've stood on my chair that has wheels multiple times before. And every time I think about that book. And I feel like I'm breaking every single rule in the book. It's really weird, but I've always followed the same rule when it comes to drinking alcohol. I've always been so firm on the fact that the legal drinking age is 21 in the US and that I would never even have a sip, not even a smell of it until I turned 21. Actually, kind of silly story, but when I worked at this really fancy rich country club as a banquet server and I was still 18, my manager at the time forbade me from even touching a bottle, much less even looking at one. And I was like, you got it, bro. I didn't even want to touch it anyways. By the way, the whole not drinking any alcohol until I turned 21, it's just a personal thing. And no way am I judging anyone who drinks before the age of 21. Though this video is not to condone the drinking of alcohol before you are of the legal age. So now you can't hold me accountable if you are under the age. But also like, just be safe and mindful of how you're drinking. Jesus Christ, I have my glasses on, but I literally can't see my script. Anyways, I turned 21 a couple months ago, and a few months prior to my birthday, me and my friends planned to have a weekend getaway for my birthday in the big city. We live in a very small, very quiet, and boring city where usually there's nothing else to do but walk around an empty mall or eat. My birthday is also in the summer, so me and my friends' schedules were actually free for once, so there would be little to no risk of it getting completely canceled due to school. The only thing we had to worry about was the fact that I had to be home before I left for a family vacation to the Philippines, because that was something out of my control. We interrupt this video with breaking news! Breaking news, as this isn't really a sponsorship, but I just really wanted to shamelessly plug myself because I finally got on VGen, guys! Yippee! I've been wanting to get on VGen for a while because I heard taking commissions on there was the way to go. And now that I'm finally on there, if you or anyone you know would love a commission from me, I'd appreciate your support. To get verified, I need 10 followers, 3 commission reviews, and a rating of 4.6 or higher. And if you're able to buy, that'd be so awesome, but you know, even just a follow on there is more than enough to support me. Anyways, back to alcohol. The plan was for it to be a 3-day weekend out of town, find an Airbnb that was in a safe neighborhood because we're 5 women out in a big city, we still want to feel safe somehow, figure out who was driving, figure out how we would split the money for the trip, and then plan the itinerary for what we would do during the trip. This sounds like a lot because it was. This was our first time ever planning a decently big trip as a group, like a step above a sleepover big, because we weren't able to have our first sleepover until the ripe age of our early 20s. I'm being so dead ass. Our parents were still very restrictive of what we did outside the house at the time, namely me and Tandy, but mostly Tandy. We were literally first year college students still being restricted by what we do by our parents, bruh. And girl, it was annoying, but we couldn't really do anything about it. So that's why it took so long for us to even have that sleepover in the first place. And if you think I'm exaggerating, Tandy wasn't even able to have sleepovers with her cousins. Her literal cousins. You know, the people she's related to? Yeah, she couldn't even have a sleepover with them. It was the same for Jazz, who's literally Tandy's cousin. Actually, it was more stressful than what I'm describing because I was genuinely scared at one point that Tandy wouldn't be able to go because her parents would not give her an actual answer to whether or not she could actually go. But it worked out in the end somehow. It was just so last minute, like hours before the trip last minute. The only thing that didn't go as planned was that my guy best friend wasn't able to go. Again, parents. So he had to miss out on all the fun, which I was sad about because I wanted all of us to be there, but you know, we couldn't do anything about it, so he just dropped his gift off for me before we left. But now that we actually knew Tandy was able to go, we were gonna be able to move forward with the plans. It was finally the Friday night before we were supposed to leave, and I was so excited. We packed our things, and we had decided my friend Lechuga would drive us around, so early Saturday morning she went around picking us all up, going around to Jass's, Tandy's, and then mine. And then we left Tina behind to get breakfast. And then we went and got breakfast with just us 4 because Tina was still at her apartment out of town, which worked out for us since we reserved our Airbnb in her city. After breakfast, we headed straight to the Airbnb so we could drop off all of our stuff before we could explore the city. The Airbnb we rented was this really nice fenced property in a pretty safe neighborhood that we were able to get for a really good price. All things considering the prices of everything lately, with a really sweet host to boot. Because when it was finally time for us to check out, my friend's car died. But she was really sweet and understanding about the whole situation. After we dropped off all of our things at the Airbnb, we headed out to explore, you know, partied a bit. Not really. If I'm being so completely honest, I can hardly remember what we did the day we arrived. We had an itinerary we wanted to do, but the itinerary stuff ended up not working out in the end, except for like maybe one thing. But like we weren't able to go to a single place, like the museum we wanted to. But that part didn't really matter to me since I was getting to experience new things with my friends, and we still did a lot of things regardless, so that's what mattered to me the most. Like getting lost in the city while also looking for our bus. But now that we were only a few hours out until midnight, all that was left to do was wait until I turned 21. Before Before heading back to the Airbnb, we dropped by the store, bought a cake, some alcohol, and other things to eat for dinner. To save ourselves from having to drive the atrocious roads in the city, we opted for taking public transportation around. But at the store, we ended up meeting one of Tina's college friends that agreed to drive us back to our Airbnb after shopping. In this small ass sedan of a car, by the way. There's 5 of us, plus the driver. So we kind of just crammed into the backseat of the car, and this bitch decided to drive around like an idiot when there's 5 of us stacked in a sedan. No seatbelts, no protection, no nothing. Literally, it was a 2-minute drive too, and it was the most terrified 2 minutes of my life, because I don't ever do that kind of shit, especially not in the States, because when you're in the Philippines, you can do f all on those roads. I was literally sitting on my best friend's lap, my face to the ceiling of the car. It's even worse because I can get pretty bad motion sickness too, but get we ball, I guess. I felt the car just like take the most sharpest turn and my body moving to take a hard right, to the point that Tandy had to physically wrap her arms around me to keep me from tipping over. I think I remember just giving a look to Tandy without saying anything else, and then she just stared back at me too, but I just kept staring at the ceiling of the car, silently waiting for the moment I could just finally step out and feel the safety of the concrete on my feet. And then we made it back to the Airbnb safe. And then we made it back to the Airbnb and all. Holy shit. And then we made it back to the Airbnb all in one piece, thankfully. We unloaded all the stuff from the back of the car and carried it all the way up to our place and said our goodbyes and thanks to Tina's friend for driving us. And we started prepping for dinner that night. We were all pretty exhausted, so it was really nice to relax for the first time that day since we literally went straight to exploring after a pretty long and early drive. But I remember sitting there anxiously, watching time go by so slowly because I was genuinely so nervous to finally have a sip of alcohol. Because again, I said, I have never taken a sip of alcohol. No, I've never even like sniffed it. And once it finally hit midnight, it was all getting to be a little too real once we pulled out the cake and candles. Cause I'm like, oh girl, I'm turning 21, what the fuck? And then out came the bottles of alcohol. I was nervous, but my friends were so excited because they knew how much I refrained from drinking alcohol or any substances for that matter, because I desperately wanted to see how I would act completely drunk. Like I'm safe, but not safe with these people at the same time, because they want to see me drunk. More specifically, Tina, she was a little too excited for me to get drunk. That's when I learned that I am a lightweight. Granted, this is my first time ever drinking alcohol, but I literally took 2 sips, and I could already feel myself heating up and getting dizzy. Feeling kind of loopy and lightheaded already, but again, I'm only 2 sips in. It's only gonna get worse from there if I'm this much of a lightweight. Because we decided to play the hot ones truth or dab game, but instead of hot sauce, we would take a sip of alcohol if we didn't want to answer. I'm gonna be so for real though, I hardly remember what happened throughout that entire night. I got so drunk so quickly and so tired that I was just off my rockers. But I kept drinking because I was having so much fun. I do remember laughing and giggling my ass off at every little thing, but literally nothing else. I was just laughing. My best friend has literal footage of me acting like an idiot too, because I don't know, she needed something for the records to hold against me. But I asked her, since I don't remember and I wasn't about to look through that footage of myself, and she said I was super unserious and unfiltered, as one gets when you get drunk as like obviously I act completely different when I'm around my friends compared to how I would act around like classmates, but I guess you could say that even when I act goofy with friends, I can still be a little reserved and serious. When she means unfiltered and unserious, she means unfiltered and unserious. Because apparently I said, OMG, my depression is gone. Like what? Oh my god, I also remember just throwing everything around me. Like I was so restless and tired that I kept rubbing my face and taking my glasses on and off and just throwing them around the room. I do remember Tandy saying like, stop throwing your glasses off, you need them. Tandy also told me that I would not stop moving in my chair, to the point that I just got up and threw myself on the couch, and then to the floor, and then back to the couch, and then back to the table. Bruh, I was being so dramatic. Thinking about it now, I feel so bad for my friends because they had to deal with my head ass. But yeah, for the record, I was also on antidepressants at the time, hence the joke I made. So that may have been the cause for my extreme lightweightedness. I completely forgot. You really shouldn't drink alcohol on antidepressants. And you know what? Maybe don't do that. But I still had a lot of fun. I've been off my antidepressants for a while now, and I can say that I still get equally as drunk as when I was on them. So I can confirm I still am very much a lightweight. I can also confirm that I do not have Asian flush though, so hooray for not being allergic to alcohol, guys. Anyways, we stayed up until 3-4 a.m. probably that night, just drinking and yapping away. This was our hangout of the year basically, so we were catching up big time. Also, that night was difficult for so many reasons because one, my friends had to take care of me while I was drunk as fuck. Granted, I knew I was in good hands, but still I was giving them so much trouble. Whenever I went up to the bathroom though, they, who were also drunk, were so concerned about me wobbling down to the bathroom that they were like, someone walk her to the bathroom! We need someone to escort Jill to the bathroom, guys. Guys, make sure Jill gets to the bathroom safely. And even in my drunken stupor, I was stubborn enough to be like, girl, I can walk, as I'm literally wobbling down to the bathroom. 2, there were house rules set by the host for specific hours of the night to be quiet hours out of respect for the other tenants next door. and we were not being quiet whatsoever. Girl, we're a bunch of college students out on vacation getting drunk and playing card games. We were laughing our asses off at nothing. There were so many moments we were so worried about how loud we were that we kept walking into the other rooms to test how loud we were being through the walls. I definitely felt so bad, but we didn't get any complaints, so it was a win. Eventually, we wrapped things up because I was literally on the floor passing out, and my friends had to drag me to my room while also making sure I drank enough water and positioned me on my side, so they were like, yeah, maybe now's a good time to start heading to bed. Safe to say that my first experience drinking alcohol was an experience, but more importantly, I got to experience it with my friends. I love y'all. Thanks for dealing with me in my drunken state. As much as I didn't want to watch Tandy's videos of me getting drunk, I do have videos up on my other channel where I post videos of my friends and I playing video games, and I have videos of us getting drunk while we played a game called Identity V. So if you want to see it firsthand, I guess you could watch those videos? Or if you just want to watch something silly in the background, my other channel will be linked below. I have more footage of us getting drunk playing Outlast Trials too, but I gotta find time to edit that down into a video. Anyways, thanks for all your support. Oh, also someone in my comments asked if my frog had a name. It does now. His name is Kiwi, so if you watch till the very end, let me know by commenting, "Hi, Kiwi." Okay, thanks again, bye!